emergency services and how quickly they must respond around the county, no matter how they gotta get through. I think we all know the quicker that EMS can get to somebody, the better. The whole issue here is that the county chose to make this connection rather than looking at all the other alternatives for the second access point. They chose to connect a walk-to-school community and induce in thousands of vehicles, daily traffic, into a community that had children walking to school. Now, we are different than other communities in the county. Nobody likes to hear that they're different, okay? But when the county uses the excuse that this is just like connecting any other communities in the county,
right,
that's wrong.
right.
Those are dead wrong statements from Jason or anybody else in that planning commission or those developers that make that statement. Because we are different.
Right.
And that's the problem.
Right. I agree. I understand that's a concern. I understand the resident side. I understand more today than I did 3 months ago, the county side, going back to zoning. And like I said, I'll take the additional concerns and I'll take it back. And something I'm learning is the hard questions, it's good. Make folks to think about the projects and current projects and future projects differently. And so I'm more than willing to go back and ask staff the additional question.
Well, our frustration is we've been complaining about this for 2 years.
Yeah.
And the same people in the county, not the commissioner, I'm not complaining about the commissioners,
Right.
past or present, I'm complaining about the county staff. Your staff. They seem to be more concerned with protecting the decisions they've made, okay? Even when we point out how wrong they were, from our point of view, that adding any additional traffic to a community that was built as a walk-to-school community doesn't make any sense. You are definitely making it more unsafe for those children when you take thousands more vehicles and pump into that community. I mean, those communities were developed like that in the 70s and 80s to make walk-to-school safe by reducing traffic. Also to reduce emissions was what they were looking for back in those days.
Right.
Whether or not that reduces emissions or not, I don't know.
And so part of the argument,
it's unsafe to connect us.
and part of the argument that I see in print is that years ago, when they built that street, the focus was one day connecting those neighborhoods. And that's why it's the only street in Hampshire. So when they did the planning and they did the zoning many, many years ago, the plan was to connect that street. One of my issues is that you have people buy homes and move on streets and they're not told the information also. That's a whole, I know that's another issue, but that's also an issue that I'm bringing up.
That's not the issue I'm really complaining about.
I understand what you're saying.
I live on the street, so yes, I don't like it because I live there.
Right.
I think it negatively impacts my home value. But that's not the point I've been trying to get across to the county for 2 years. And you can go back through all the correspondence I've written. And rarely has anyone, I don't think anyone has ever written to the county complaining about children playing in the street. Okay, there was one resident that did have a family on the street, but they've since moved, okay, that had their children play in the street, and they were concerned about that. But we haven't complained about that. Our complaint has always been centralized around the walk-to-school community. And every time the county staff wants to address these issues with you or Robinson or anybody else that sits in the commissioner seats, they want to point back to the fact that it's 15 houses on Ocelot Street complaining. We're only concerned about ourselves, and it was always designed to be connected. They never want to address the part that we've been trying to get across to them. So
Well,
I'll leave it at that because we can't get anywhere. But that's the issue.
What I'm going to do is go back with additional questions, and I'll follow up with the email, and then if we need to have a conversation prior to the next meeting, we can.
Well,
All right.
the biggest thing is they're opening it up in a month and a half, they said, which was a shocker until we found out on that February 3rd during your meeting, because we had no clue they were going to open that quickly.
Right.
And again, safety of the children is what we're talking about. And when you were talking about the street being there and a future thing, that was also 10 years ago when McDaniel Road was supposed to be done.
Exactly.
And if McDaniel Road had been done when it should have been done,
This wouldn't
then
even be
we
on the
would have
table.
had, it would be not a problem.
So like I said, I'll look back at your additional points, and then I will also see what we can do to expedite the Old McDaniel Road project. That's what I can do for
Okay.
right now.
All right, and just, again, if they can sit there and keep that gate closed until Old McDaniel is open, then that traffic go that way, and then the gate would be not a big deal. I mean,
So last-
it's about those 5-year-olds walking to school.
Right, and so the point is, if Old McDaniel Road was open, then the access would not be needed. So they're not going to, in my opinion, based on what I've read in conversations, they're not going to keep it closed and then build Old McDaniel and then open it up. That's backwards from what they're thinking. So based on the February 3rd meeting, we got them to state that if we did open it and build Old McDaniel Road, then possibly the road can be gated, because then, based on regulations, the road will not be needed. But I will follow up with you.
But meanwhile, 2 years worth of the kids possibly getting hit, and then to sit there and, like I said, have Autumn Hills and Constitution Hills gated.
Like I said, I will follow up with them about that.
That doesn't make any sense. They're okay to do it for the last 8 years for a building permit.
I appreciate you sharing that information.
And just
Thank
like I
you.
said, that whole letter states everything.
Got you. Thank you so much. The next item, I don't know if anybody has heard this, I'm sure a few people is aware. Tomorrow, we're having a public hearing meeting in La Plata. It starts at 6 p.m. Please, if you can, come on out. The public hearing is for 2 items. If you can't come out, you can watch it. If you have Verizon, I know it's channel 10. I'm okay with the agenda items, like I understand them. The first one is floodplain mapping. It's bill number 2015-01. For additional information, you can go to board docs. Supporting documentation is there. The floodplain mapping is to enact revisions to the county floodplain management ordinance. It's based on changes with FEMA and the state regulations. The second part of the public forum, public hearing tomorrow, is for debt refunding. And so it's a lot of information, but it's a positive move. It is actually refunding money from bonds, and it actually will not cost the county anything. This is for saving the county money. So for specific information, please go to the county's website. Again, board docs, you can go in and see the actual information regarding the public hearing. Again, it's tomorrow, February 24th. The public hearing will start at 6 p.m. Doors open at 5:30. Citizens are asked if they would like to make comments orally or written. You can do so. And so those are 2 public hearings tomorrow. There's something else. It's a good turnout, so I'm going to mention this. I wanted to speak to one of our county attorneys today before I really talked about this in depth. It will be my goal next time to maybe have someone here, an expert here, to talk about this issue that's coming up. I don't know if you've heard about the Super Walmart. So one of my concerns is that based on regulations, it looks like it's my understanding that a public hearing is not required. And so tomorrow I'll be asking, and like I said, I wanted to talk to legal today, but tomorrow I'll be asking why I can't, as a commissioner of District 3, why I can't request a public hearing be made on this project. So I will be asking that question tomorrow. If you're not familiar, they're planning on putting a Super Walmart at the beginning of Waldorf as you're coming in to the right. You'll know the big white building there, the gas station where the Sonics is coming now, the McDonald's. So it would go from the beginning of Waldorf all the way down past. all
Behind
the
there.
way
You
down,
finally get to Brandywine.
right at Madam and Beantown, yes, all the way down, you know where the motel is?
Yeah.
So you're talking about a lot of acres, is it like 20-some acres? And,
the old embassy.
right, you know where Embassy is, where they used to make the ice cream? And so what I wanna say is, I would appreciate if everyone could keep their ears open to this issue. If you came in late, please make sure I have your email address before you leave. I will send out email regarding this. It's gonna be very important. I don't know if I'm gonna be successful tomorrow. One thing I've learned is that legal will say, you know, Commissioner Stewart, that makes sense, but you can't do it because of the law. I'm gonna ask for a public hearing. I don't know if they'll tell me no, legally I can't do it, but I will ask. And so in my follow-up email from today's meeting, I'll let you know what the answer was. But please be mindful that they want to put a super Walmart in. One of the concerns that I have is that it zones transit-oriented development, because one day I'm hoping that we'll have light rail come to the county to help people go up and down the road. Over 60% of our residents travel up and down the road to work. So my concern is, and what I've said is this: nothing against the company. We're consumers, right? You can shop wherever you want to shop. But I want to make sure that when a day comes that we have to ask for federal and state funding for light rail, that we are we're following the requirements to have the money from the federal level and the state level. Because I know we can't pay for light rail ourselves. So I just asked, and I can't say more about that today. Like I said, I needed to talk to legal first. Hopefully I can plan to have someone here next time to talk to the group. But I just ask, please spread the word, let people know what's going on, so people can make their own informed decisions and come up with how they feel about the project. Okay? Yeah.
Excuse me, on that subject, one big concern when I first heard about it was the infrastructure. Roads, access, drainage, you have enough congestion coming in that intersection now, and particularly with the Road 5 bypass. But you still have a lot of infrastructure problems. Going back to that area now, for years, that Exxon station has been vacant. It was closed, it opened, and it's been closed. I don't know what the issue is. I understand Exxon is starting to, what I did hear was recently.
Sonic, it's gonna be a Sonic
Sonic
there.
now.
I don't know if you've been to the one in St. Mary's County or heard about the Sonic. The gentleman who bought the Sonic in St. Mary's County, you have to agree to open two. So his first one was in St. Mary's County. His second one, that has been approved.
Where is
The
that
one in
one? Where will that one be at?
The old Exxon, as you're coming into Waldorf, right beside Cheney Building, the abandoned Exxon, beside the McDonald's, right beside it.
I see where Exxon has an open. Exxon has
Right.
open two.
Right. So I just ask, please, I'm gonna push out as much information as I can. And if you were here the first meeting, you'll remember me saying, this information is not just for you. We need to be a better community. I need you to share this information with your neighbors, with your friends, your families, and we just need to spread the information. So please, yes.
What will happen to the two local Walmarts, and there's even one in Brandywine, so 3?
So,
Will they abandon those?
so the one in Waldorf would be abandoned. And so if we go through, if you Google abandoned Walmarts, you'll see that there's a lot across the country, right? I'm not sharing my opinion. I'm just looking at the research I did. And so, that's an issue. There's an issue. There's a lot of abandoned buildings. One of the issues I brought up was that if Walmart wants to expand, there's a lot of empty or for sale property right around the existing Walmart. And so I have concerns. And so what I'm going to do is just keep on raising my concerns and keep on asking my questions. And like I said, starting with the one tomorrow about a public hearing.
Would that affect the Sam's Club if they did put that super Walmart up?
I don't think so. And like I said, I'm not an expert. My response to that is primarily as a consumer. I have noticed in other areas where they have a super Walmart and a Sam's Club, and they're both operational.
I was going to say, I share your concerns and I appreciate you asking because I know that parts of the project that's associated with it, the Waldorf station, I call it Walmart station, you have to excuse me, has had public hearings, but the Walmart hasn't. And I just can't believe that something that big, that's going to be in transit-oriented development, in fact it takes up 40% of that project, you know, it's huge, has gone without any input from us at all.
Right. And so maybe we haven't had someone to speak up and say it. So like I said, I will tomorrow, and we'll see how that goes. And even if they say no, I'll push a little bit, so we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see. Yes.
I'd like to show you something.
Sure.
Highfield Civic Association is,
Oh, yes, I remember hearing you talk about that.
would like to put that sign in that location.
Mhm.
We've been told it's gonna take a special,
Exception.
well, the commissioners will have to support that in unison.
Oh, okay.
So,
You mean majority?
majority, yes, all,
Can I hold?
absolutely. I
Thank
gave that to you.
And you have my email address. If you can, did the Pinefield board,
Most of
Could-
us are here. Most of us are here now.
okay, did you formally write a request?
Not yet.
Not yet?
We didn't quite know what the process would be. We were kind of hoping we could.
So why don't I do this, find out what the process will be, and I can email you tomorrow. The process may be easier than you probably expect. I'm thinking that all I need to do is request it. So let me see tomorrow and I'll follow up with you.
Thank you.
And if you, hopefully, I don't know if you know where Pinefield is, but it's the development as you're coming into, Charles County. I pretty much grew up in Pinefield, and Pinefield used to have, very nice brick, walls, decorative walls as you entered the community. And as a child, they were wonderful. They said Pinefield. Then maybe about 10 years ago, a car ran into it. That's a long story. Long story about that.
And the
Huh?
state
Did you
highway.
drive it?
I hear.
Was you driving?
Was I driving? Oh, no. No. It's a long story about insurance and everything. I remember that story. So I'll be happy to share this with the commissioners and see how we can expedite this. I remember last year, I don't know what month it was way before December, I came to one of your meetings, and you guys were discussing how you were gonna do this and what it was gonna look like. So this is nice. I'll definitely take it to the office with me tomorrow, and it may be something as simple as me just making a meeting request and asking the commissioners to support it. And if I do that, depending on how the schedule is, you could possibly, if it's that simple, have a response back within 30 days. And when I say 30 days, it depends on how the schedule is, if I can squeeze it in on the schedule. All right?
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Light rail transit initiatives, that goes back to my concern about Super Walmart. I tell people, and I told a previous elected official, light rail may not be in place by the time I retire. It's okay. But I'm gonna work as hard as I can for my son and for everyone else's children. Because when they go off to school, if you want them to come back to the county and live, and if they choose to go someplace else to work, we want them to be able to get to and from home quickly and safely, right? So again, I may not be doing this for us sitting around the table, right? It's gonna take a few years. But I really believe that we need to do it for the young ones sitting in here. So when they go off to college and come back, if they choose to work here in the county, great. But if they have a job outside the county, they should still want, it should be a better commute for them. And so tomorrow at 11 a.m., if you can come to the county building. If not, you can look at it online or on TV. The commissioners will receive a light rail transit initiative presentation. And so I went through the presentation today. It's really interesting. It gives you some updates of where we are and where we want to move to. So I'm just sharing that with you. 7 o'clock. We have a good time. So that's everything on my list. And so I'm going to move around this way to see if anyone has any questions, concerns, comments. Yes, sir?
Yes, well, I read it, but on the Waldorf urban redevelopment
Yes.
corridor, could you give us an update? I'm getting some mixed information. For example, just Friday, in the Independent, Maryland Independent, I heard about a convention center and a cultural arts center. I had never heard that for this corridor, for this project at all.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering, and I've heard it's gonna be mixed, initially mixed use, residential, commercial,
Yes.
and with underground parking. Now I'm hearing street parking. Seriously.
Okay.
But anyway, that's why I'd asked that.
Okay, so look at my calendar and ask, if you haven't already seen it, go back to board docs for February 17th. I don't think it's the 10th. I think it was actually last Tuesday was a holiday, so the 10th, February 10th, we got a project briefing. And so one thing I have to say is nothing is written in stone. And this is where public hearings are gonna be really important to get feedback from the community. I have not heard of underground parking. I have heard of street parking. If we visit some areas not too far from Charles County, you get the neighborhoods, the business areas where people bike, people stroll. You have street dining, you have cars parked on the side. So based on the information I've had and some of the schematics that I've reviewed, street parking was on there, not underground parking. Something else that you mentioned was like the convention center, the culture art center.
Yeah.
And so we have we have several arts, leagues and groups. And that's something that we've been lacking in the county, one of the things that we've been lacking. So based on that, needing a place that really supports art, that was one reason why that was brought as a possibility. The other possibility is a convention center, because it's another issue. Folks are concerned, for a lot of reasons, that we don't have a place to bring people into, other than like Regency, but that's outside. Another issue you'll hear about is graduations. So Dr. Hill has brought all graduations to the county. And so as a commissioner, I've had conversations with people and said, okay, we're bringing graduations to the county. We have issues because in some schools, you have to have people in the auditorium, then you have to have people in a satellite area. We should be able to plan to be able to have a facility where all our high school kids can graduate in the county in one place, and all the family and friends can sit in that one area. So keep in mind that I'm going to be pushing for public hearings, pushing for information pushed out to the public as much as possible. And number two, my understanding, really nothing is written in stone. Nothing is written in stone, but if you go back to that presentation, I think they did a really good job sharing information.
You said it's tomorrow, the rail.
Tomorrow's light rail transit. It's on the schedule to start around 11 o'clock, so normally we've been doing really good with our timing. And so, but like I said, if you went home right now and went on board docs, you'll see the presentation that they've prepared to give us tomorrow, at least the PowerPoint.
Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you, yeah.
I was gonna say, didn't Dr. Falcon mention something about a Maryland Stadium Authority study that's being done right now about this whole civic component of the work?
I have to go back to my notes.
Yeah, I think she did, and I think that's going to be finishing around March, so I have a feeling that's when, the stone will come out and they'll start working on it to see the results of that study, so, like you said, it's early days.
It's early, right. I think at this point, what's really good about this project is that they're thinking about all different possibilities right now. And so, like I said, it's going to be really important when you see information coming in the mail to make sure we have these public forums, public hearings to come out to them, or at least send in your written comments or concerns. Thanks. Anybody else on this side? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Shea Abdullah from Valley Arts Academy. How you doing?
Yes.
There are several parents in the room, and let's say all of the children in here, save maybe one,
Okay.
are students or siblings of students at Valley Arts Academy. We're located in the building that shares a space with Health Partners, right there at the corner of 301 and Leonardtown.
The old
The old
Waldorf
Waldorf
school.
School, yes. We have been having a heating issue,
Yes.
and we just kind of wanted to put it out there as much as possible. We rent classroom space there, and we also rent use of the auditorium. We don't have exclusive use of the auditorium. And our larger classes, our older classes are in the auditorium. However, since we've returned since January, that's not been an option because the auditorium is pretty much 55 degrees and under every day and evening. So, we know that the county leases the building to the Friends of the Old Building School. And we know that there are different renovations that need to happen in the building. However, right now, we're the ones affected by it. Our kids are the ones that are affected by it. So we have to go in there and put heaters in a few hours before class just to have the classrooms warm enough so the kids can dance at night.
So I appreciate you coming and giving me that information. It's always better to get information firsthand than just by email. So I am aware of the issue. I'm also aware, and so this was brought to my attention, I think, last Friday. And so based on my questions, I was asking for legal to take a look at the lease to see who was responsible for fixing or improving the heat. And so when I go in tomorrow, like I said today, I couldn't talk to legal, but when I go in tomorrow, I'll look for an update. Have you talked to Oscar?
Talk to him every day.
Okay,
That's like talk to him right before I came here.
okay.
Did I miss a memo?
It's just my understanding that the Waldorf school is concerned about not being able to take care of the things that need to be fixed.
Oh, we got an email from them on Saturday.
Yeah,
Yes.
discussing the lease.
Yes.
Okay, so, because that's a lease issue, I'm gonna stop there.
Okay.
One thing I've learned is that lease issues between groups and organizations are private, so I'm gonna stop right there. I have your information, you have my card.
Yes.
So based on the information I received, it talks about next steps.
Okay.
And so we can talk offline. What I'm concerned about also is, do you have, we can talk about, are there any other areas in the county that, all of that we can talk about. Okay?
I appreciate it.
But I appreciate you coming this evening. I appreciate everyone. This is great to see the kids, so I appreciate you taking time out to bring this, so we can talk offline about the whole lease and all that.
Sounds good.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Hello. Anybody else over here?
Yeah, hi. My name is Blake Altman, and I'm Vice President of the Oxon Hill Bicycle and Trail Club, and I'm here this evening to talk about the the Indian Head Rail Trail, which is in a state of destruction, I guess you would call it. And I was at Commissioner Robinson's town hall meeting
Right.
for the same purpose. Basically here to advocate and to educate commissioners about restoring the trail. I mean, we understand it's torn up, we understand why, we understand it's gonna take time to restore it. Our concern is that the people who may be restoring the trail don't understand or maybe don't care about what the condition of the trail was before, which was really beautiful. I mean, it was a beautiful paving job. I don't know if you've seen the trail lately. The last I saw it, I mean, in some sections it's just gone. The pavement has been removed. And I think pretty much everywhere they're doing construction, and I can tell from crossings, because I can't go down it now because it would be trespassing.
Right.
But from what I can tell, they've been driving heavy equipment down and across it, which basically will destroy it because the standards to which it was built, I mean, it was built sort of like a subdivision road, because that's adequate for, more than adequate for trail traffic. But when you drive heavy equipment over it like that, it's gonna destroy the base and it will all crack up and become potholes. So, I'm not really asking for anything at this point. I just want people to be aware that this is a concern and this is something that we're going to be continuing to be looking at, and we would like to do whatever we can as a club to assist the county and the contractors in restoring the trail. Now, the club is not just Charles County, but it's the Charles County and the surrounding area. So
That's a plus. So I did, have the opportunity to, I'm thinking, I don't know what week it was. County staff was doing a presentation and the trail was mentioned. And I remember Commissioner Robertson, addressing that same issue. And of course, we'll need follow-up. We need to make sure folks are doing what they're supposed to do. But we were told that it was going to be repaired, the sections will be repaired, and it should be open this spring or summertime.
yes, I understand that,
So,
and I would assume you would be told that, but there's repaving and there's repaving, is my point.
making sure it's done correctly.
Yeah, I mean, if you just throw down some cold patch and run a steamroller over it, that is not gonna be adequate. And of course, the contractor's gonna be out of there whenever it's signed off on, and then you'll have things happening. So, I believe there's the meeting tomorrow, there's gonna be a status update. So,
Right. If you can make sure I have your contact information before you leave, so I can follow up with you, that's what I'll do. I'll get updates and like email you, so you know what's going on. And then of course, from this point forward, once it is reopened, and if you have problems, please reach out to any of the commissioners, or especially Commissioner Robinson or myself, so we can make sure we can address your concerns.
And we also have worked with Tom Rome,
Okay.
head of Parks and Rec. He's been very, very good. He was really the driving force behind creating the trail in the first place. So
Right.
he's
Very
an
nice.
excellent
It
resource.
is an asset for the county, and like you mentioned, it's not just for Charles County residents, it's people all around the state of Maryland, even from Virginia, coming to use it. And so with the conversations that I've had, and even, you think of the pie in the sky, one day we should really be able to really have more at the trails, bringing more people, making sure that it's a destination for folks, something that people come to do. Yeah.
One thing that's been talked about, this is pie in the sky, is the 3-notch trail and connecting the two together
Yeah.
somehow. And then there's the Wilson Bridge Trail. If you could get up to there, then you would be connecting to Virginia.
Right.
That's, yeah,
It all
children's
starts
children
with-
maybe.
But it always starts with planning. So thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for coming out. Yeah.
I don't know where this question should go, but as you probably know, the county is experiencing a lot of copper thefts from the homes that are empty. And in our neighborhood, we had one in particular where the copper was taken out when the water was turned on. And the house incurred thousands of dollars of damage for a couple $100 worth of copper pipe. And when the homes are abandoned, it would be interesting to see if the utilities could work together to maybe try to prevent additional damage occurring at some of these homes that are abandoned. If the power's cut off, could they possibly communicate with the water department? And if you lose one and the home is abandoned, then the water would automatically go out there and turn the water off?
I don't know if that's possible. I see a lot of problems with that, but I'll ask the question.
Well, if the home's occupied and it's a payment situation, yes. If the home's abandoned,
I'll ask.
I don't know.
I'll ask.
It could help people in the future. And this question's gonna get me in trouble, but I have to ask it. The policy of letting our deputies take patrol cars out of county, with our budget problems, I don't know if that's the wisest thing we should be doing, especially also with the negotiations over their salary that's going on now too. just throwing that out there. See what sticks where.
Right, well, I don't know if that's a commissioner's question, or if that is a Sheriff Berry question. If you want to write that on a card, I can email that to him, or I would suggest that you email Sheriff Berry. I don't know if that's a commissioner question, I will ask. If that's a
It might be
commissioner
a
question.
budget question.
I think it is, listening to your concerns, it is a budget question, but something else that I've learned is that, sometimes specific budget line items are determined by that department. So I'll have to find out if that's a.
Okay, they're absorbing their part.
Right.
Well, in addition to that too, since you're renegotiating our budget, where's our deficit stand right now?
I don't have that information.
I think it's
right
over
here.
300 million, but.
I don't have that information. And then with the debt refunding, that's going to change some things, improve some numbers. So I don't have that right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have two questions. One, what happened to public forums so that we can speak to all the commissioners on time? Has it been since, let's say, July or August? We've had public forums.
You mean like a public hearing?
Well, it's different. A public forum, anyone can say whatever they want. A public hearing is just on what's going on.
You're referring to
I'll find out.
the open public
I'll
forum.
find out. The open,
It should
I'll
be
find
every
out.
month.
You say July,
July
the
was
election was going on, so I'll find out.
And then my other question I have too is,
That's quarterly. This was a monthly thing.
I'm almost feeling like, everything we've said is not, it's all coming down to well, we have policies in place and that trumps over anything else that is said about children and safety. At what point, hopefully getting back to something that does, if it doesn't happen, what's the next step I need to go to? Who should I start talking to change the policy like that if this level doesn't work? I sure don't wanna wait
It
till a
depends
kid
on,
gets hit.
right, it depends on how you look at it. Are you thinking about future development or just the current project at hand?
The current project. I mean, we're talking month and a half away before those 1,200 cars you guys predict from Germany.
I don't have really, other than the commissioners, I don't have an answer for you.
So,
You definitely, we have state elected officials, right? We have state elected officials. I think it's always positive to reach out to our state elected officials. As a resident, as a regular citizen, I do that myself. So I would always, no matter what issue is at hand, if we have an issue, if it's Oslet Street, if it's Waldorf Station, if it's Pinefield, if it's Indian Head, if it's the trail rail, any issue, I always suggest that we inform our elected officials at county level, state level about our issues. Because I truly believe that we get change when people, we let them know of the problem. They have to hear from us. So that probably answers your question, but I'll do that. All right, yes ma'am.
Piggyback on what Tashia said, my name is Jerry Farrar. I'm a student mom at Valley Arts Academy, also a PER representative. Who is responsible for the snow removal in that area? Is it who we lease the building from, or is it the county that clears that parking lot there? Because this last snow we had, there was minimal attention.
On the parking lot?
Yes, ma'am, to the parking lot.
So I have Tashia email right here. What I can do is I can find that out and email you. It goes back to that lease. It goes back to the lease. I don't wanna make an assumption and say they're responsible for it or the county is responsible for it. Let me find out and then I'll email you to let you know. And definitely if the county is responsible for it, that it wasn't clear, then we have an easy way to report that, not just through me, but I can gladly share that information with you. So I'll find out.
I have a
Great
second question.
Yeah.
But is with a neighborhood.
Sure.
My neighborhood. I live here in Waldorf.
Okay.
I heard that speed bumps aren't authorized here in Charles County. Is that
I
true?
heard that too.
They destroy the snowplows.
And they turn up on EMS vehicles.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
do.
ambulance
I'm
and
telling
stuff.
you, before becoming a commissioner, that was one of my issues. And really with the neighborhood, Pinefield, I used to live in Pinefield. And so I always wanted to know why we couldn't get humps. I didn't say speed bumps, but humps, that's
Speed trays, they
It's-
call them.
speed
I
trays.
think that's the new terminology, the gradual ones.
Right, right.
Yeah, not the boom, boom, boom.
Right. So I was always told, well, we don't do that in Charles County. However, I'm glad you're bringing that up because I didn't think about it. So now I guess as a commissioner, let me revisit that question. I mean, let's just be honest, right? I'm gonna put that up here with ballet. So I have your contact information, so you don't mind, I just email you?
I will forward it to them.
Okay.
But you're gonna look for the humps, not the bumps.
Right, not speed bumps, the humps.
North Point has
It's
them.
not on private property. There's several private properties that have it.
Right, right. So let me look into that.
But you
What
know,
neighborhood is
speeding,
it?
I'm down in Eagle Ridge.
Eagle Ridge?
Yeah.
Amanda,
But they speed
We tried getting them in Settle Woods for years.
Yeah.
We
the
couldn't.
And
county
safety
gets,
for
the
children.
county has information on that from, I think, about probably last summer.
There's a big thing on it.
I think it's Donna Daughtery was part of that, where they're looking at the county's position on speed bumps and humps.
Okay.
So they did some study on that, and that, some of that through, us asking for that choker stuff in Oslo Street.
They have
So
some
they're,
North Point though.
so they
Yeah.
have some updated information that happened before you made that.
They do come on the property.
Okay, where did you
They
say?
have them at
North
schools.
Point.
They have them at
Over
grades.
North Point has
North
them.
of,
Right.
south of, the middle school over there, and the high
Right.
school,
Right,
right after the circle, there's some speed humps over there.
right, I saw those.
Yeah.
So let me do some research and look back at the old study and then go back in the
I can't tell you when it was, just
document
know-
library.
just
Oh,
know-
I can find it. Find out.
I believe Donna did the weekend.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you for reminding me of that. Yes.
My name is Joseph Noski. I'm the Pinefield Civic Association president. I know you remember me. One thing that Mr. Smith brought up is
Hold on.
we're
I have a
having
hard time.
we're having a Robert Steedham
Yes.
rededication at our park on May 16th,
Yes.
and we wanted to invite you and the commissioners all to come. Our Vice President Ed Clay
Yes.
is taking care of the arrangements. He's trying to get the Navy to have a flyover.
Right.
I don't know if you'll be able to do that, but Robert Steedham was a Pinefield resident that was killed by some terrorists and thrown off the plane.
Mhm.
So he's an American hero, and he was from Pinefield. So on the 16th, we're going to try to have a
Right.
really big to-do, and you're
So-
invited.
Thank you. I've had the opportunity to talk to Mrs. Clay, and just to let you know, my husband Alvin Stewart, he's over there. He is the deputy director for the Democratic Veterans Club for the state of Maryland. And so I've informed Mr. Stewart, and I've informed the director, and Mrs. Clay asked if we can have veterans come out that day, have commissioners come out that day. I told Mrs. Clay that I'm gonna work with making sure we can have press there that day. We wanna make sure we get it in the newspaper before, possibly get it on the local, the county TV, support it through social media to make sure that we can, honor our veteran, our hero. And so I'm a follow. I know Mrs. Clay and I have been going back and forth. I talked to her, I think, the week before last on the phone. She's been emailing me. So we plan on being there that day, and we're bringing veterans with us. And it's my hope that we can have a successful event. And so in the meantime, everyone, it's May 16th. I believe Mrs. Clay said we want to start at 11 a.m.
I believe so. It's,
Believe so?
yeah, I don't think,
So I'm looking forward to it. I know Mr. Stewart is looking forward to it.
I'll be meeting with Delegate C.T. Wilson on Friday.
Right. So good. So we have our support
okay.
in making sure this is a great day. So thank you. Yes.
Hi, thank you. I'm Lou Raymer. I live here in Lancaster, and I'm also with the Waldorf Fire Department. And they said I could ask you a question. It's not speed bumps. Although when I drive the ambulance, I have some personal issues when you're in the back and your neck's broke, hitting the speed bumps. But that's another issue. In fact, we had a call on Ocelot a couple of years ago where a guy hit that cable.
Yeah.
And he had a hanging fracture. And he survived. He survived. It was wonderful. God's blessings on him. But my question is for guidance, similar to what Plainfield folks had on public hearings.
On what?
On public hearings.
Yeah.
About this time a year ago, we started negotiations with the Board of Ed for some of their property on St. Ignatius next to EMS 3 station.
Yes.
Because that is a 1970 building. We've got additional tasking with apparatus that doesn't all fit in the building.
Yes.
It's no handicap. There's a lot of stuff going on that needs to be worked on. So we were looking at adding some parking. The Board of Ed was very gracious and said, hey, we'll give you more than what you're asking. In fact, you take a strip of land all the way down to 70 Village Street, Morningside retirement home. So we said, thank you. So now we're relooking at remodeling the building beside that in the parking lot. The problem is, it's gone through all the channels, state approval, got the green light, and before the elections, we were told it has to go to a public hearing. And they said it's not gonna happen until after elections. I don't know who to talk to or how to go about getting that on a public hearing so we can get approval from the commissioners to finish the transaction to obtain that land from the Board of Ed for the Waldorf Fire Department.
Can you please email me? Please email me so I can follow up to understand the process. It may be as simple as me making an agenda request, getting on the agenda, having you guys come out and go through the
Yeah, somebody within the county system has
Right.
walked us through the whole process up through the state
You know that
approval.
person's name?
No, I don't. The
You have it
person
by
working
email?
for us, person working for that has moved to Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And so we're trying to regroup. That's
Okay.
for the world of volunteers.
Okay.
We deal with those things.
That's what station?
The particular one is EMS 3 over on St. Ignatius. That's Waldorf. We have 3 buildings, and that's a standalone EMS station over there. And they average over 400 EMS calls a month.
Lou Rayner? Let me find out what I can find out. Let me find out the information. And you have my contact information.
I
You
got
have
your
email?
Facebook stuff too.
You have okay. So please, you have email? You have an email address? Please email me so I have your contact information or fill out a card.
Right.
So when I have the information, I can just send it to you directly so we can move forward.
Yeah, because that's, the last step they said was commissioner's approval.
Right.
And it has to go through a public hearing.
Okay.
Because it's transfer of public land to.
Right. Well, I know it's not difficult to get a public hearing. So
Well, it has been.
It's not that difficult. That from my, from my position, I think that's a public service.
Yeah,
So
this could have been done last summer.
right. So I'll find out where we are, and you email me, and then I can connect the dots and let you know the next steps. All right?
Library's closing in 27 minutes.
Okay.
The library-
Good time. Good time. He's my timekeeper. Now, before we leave,
Save your work. Computers will shut down in about 12 minutes.
hello.
Plenty of time to print. Nobody's in line. Print now. Beat the rush. Got about 4 minutes to get it back in there.
Stewart, you know this?
I move.
We from District 2, y'all, so we have to come over here to be loved.
District 2.
One thing I said when I was running for commissioner, I said I live in District 3, so technically I had to run in District 3, right? But I tell folks that I will always work hard for all residents in Charles County. So if you have a friend or a neighbor that lives in another district, please have them come on out. They'll be added to my list, just like all District 3 residents. And so in closing, before we leave, I just want you to know the next steps. I have a whole list of follow-ups. I have probably a lot of cards floating around. And so what I will do is, I'll make my notes. I will get as many questions as I can answered in the next 7 to 10 days. At that time, I will send out an email letting everyone know of all the updates regarding the topics and issues we discussed. That was one of the really great things that came out of my December meeting. Someone said, why don't you just let everyone know of the updates? So that's what I'll be doing. And so if it's anything pertaining to lease, it will not be included, other than, the snow removal, I can keep that light. If it's something dealing with contracts, I can't add that stuff, but any public information, I'll put in the email. So please make sure I have your email before we leave. If there are no more questions, comment?
Quick comment. I appreciate the overview you give at the beginning of your meetings of highlights in the area.
Thank you. And I will do my best to have very interesting information. And like you'll know now, I want you to know now, tomorrow, the commissioners will be voting to do something a little different in the county with respect to town hall meetings. Yes, individual commissioners will still have our town hall meeting, but Commissioner President Murphy would like to have quarterly meetings. So first quarter, District 1, where all the commissioners come with all of the supports, with the staff departments, like the major departments. And so if you have a question for planning, somebody from planning would be there. If you have a question about social services, someone from social services to be there. And so quarters 1, 2, 3, and 4, the commissioner from that district would host the meeting. So tomorrow we'll be discussing that and voting on that. But with that being said, I would plan for our next meeting for District 3 will be April 27th. However, based on what happens tomorrow, of course, I will have to look at the calendars and confirm a date. So please, you'll see it in emails, you'll see it on my Facebook, you'll see it on Twitter. I'll keep you informed, but if nothing changes, it'll be April 27th at 6:30, same place, same time. So nothing really important. Right. Yes.
I had a quick question. Do you know where the thrift store is coming into Waldorf, where a thrift store burned down?
Yes.
Do you know what they're building?
My son asked me that same question the other day.
Because he's so smart.
And my response to him was, I think it's just another strip mall, because I was looking at how they were dividing it up. And, I had some few guesses of what type of stores will get there. But the sign is up for lease space, call this number, so it's not just one. It was a little disappointing for me, just as a consumer, not speaking as a commissioner, as a consumer, I was a little disappointed. But,
Thrift store in Clayton.
that's what I noticed.
There's a thrift store in Clayton.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to know what they were
Continue to
putting
be
in
on
the
the
thrift,
Charles
it was a
County
thrift store that burned down.
Oh,
Thank you.
I thought you
Commissioner,
meant we're looking for one.
Oh, definitely,
All right, and also independent.
definitely. And Facebook, the question, if you didn't hear the question, how will you hear about meetings? It's social networks, so the Charles County government has a Facebook page. I have to find out if we have Twitter. Do we have Twitter? I don't think we do have Twitter. I heard the young folks say yes, and thank you. You can always find me on Facebook, Amanda Stewart. I'll always push out information for the county.
It's on the website.
It's on the website. It's on the website. The notices about the meetings are streamed live, and they're also recorded, so you can go back and watch. And I try to just send out a lot of information to the county. You'd be surprised that some people, they get offended on certain things. So I try to send out as much as I can, but, can't please everyone, right?
You were on Facebook today at 6:30.
Was I?
Yes. There's a whole bunch.
Oh, I was on the county, you said the county's Facebook.
Advertising this tonight.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch.
I know that.
So,
Because it looks like there'd be pretty large meetings.
yes,
So if you're gonna move them around the county, you have to have someplace to do it.
yes. So did everybody hear the question? And that'll be part of the discussion tomorrow. Based on Commissioner Murphy's thoughts behind this. So quarter 3, it would be my time to host, and then I would have to find a place in District 3 to host.
It won't work in here.
JC's.
Work here.
JC's.
Yeah. Or St. Charles High School, or North Point, no, not North Point, St. Charles is not in District 3 either.
Stone, is that
Wait.
District 3?
Oh, Thomas Stone.
Your alma mater.
Yes, I'm a Stone graduate. Right, we heard.
JC's is easier.
This building here will open up and get recycled.
Before I had AT&T, but we'll talk
They'll
about
do it for free if it's during the
we'll
week.
see what's back.
JC's would do it for free.
Uh-huh.
The schedules for the meetings are in the section on the agenda, not in the calendar of events. As they use, well, they were at one time, but now I've discovered it's on the section on the agenda.
On the agenda? Yeah. Okay. And please, take, share, social media updates, share the, website. Lastly, before we leave, before they kick us out, did everyone sign up for the citizen, notification system? It's a really good system. Hopefully everyone did. If you didn't, you can ask me afterwards. Or you can just go to the website, go to Charles County Government website. They'll have the link there for you to sign up.
Can I just comment about that? Some of my friends got into a little bit of a bothersome thing with that. When you sign up, it asks for your home phone, your cell phone, if you want text, if you want email and all this stuff. If you put in your home phone number, you put in your cell phone number, and you don't put things down at the bottom about restricting the time, you will get phone calls at 2 in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
So just, if you do that, you don't have to give them everything about yourself. All you have to do is give them your email or your text or something.
If you do text, it'll just ding and.
Yeah, if you do text, it's just a ding, but if you give them a phone number, it's going to call and tell you. So if you don't want to know Hawthorne Road closes at 3 a.m. I didn't do it, but my friends did.